Well, hello, 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 hello. There are some signs in central Vermont that it's coming to spring. Don't tell anybody. Hi, I'm Karen coming to you from Salt and Sand Studios right here in Warren, Vermont. Not that you're here, I'm here. This morning, we're going to focus on our hip flexors, which for me are pretty seriously in need of awareness and guidance most of the time. My suggestion is that you have some sort of blanket, which I would have you fold up. If you don't have a block or a cushion of some sort, a blanket will substitute, but you'll want it to be, about as high as a block. This sort of thing. If you have a block, great. You can use a block. If you have something like Nancy's favorite pillow, cushion, you could use that. So something around that thick, maybe a little bit thicker is what you're looking for here. We are flexing our hip flexors today, and therefore most of what we're doing is going to be close to the ground. We might do a little bit of standing stuff and we'll do some down dog. We're going to meet on the mat on our backs. If you have decided you would like to use the playlist, the set listing, as I like to call it, feel free to put that on now. So we're going to find our way to our backs. Have your pillow or cushion or block or blanket nearby, just to the right of your hips or to the left of your hips. I'm going to use the Nancy favorite cushion. We're going to start in a full body stretch. My friend Regina likes to call it a pencil stretch, which I think describes it really accurately. The legs come long on the mat. The arms come over the head. I like to hook the thumbs and spread the fingers so you have a sort of like child's imitation of a turkey ×2 over your head. Point your toes, reach the fingertips, take a huge breath in. Breathe in all the way from the toes to the top of the fingertips. And let it go. Release the stretch. Breathing in again, I can feel this in my triceps and under the arms and across the chest. Breathe in, stretch, and reach as far as you can. And let it go. This time, interlace your fingers. Send the palms above the head, so you're flipping them. We're going to reach the heels forward and the palms of the hands backward. Breathe in. Reach, 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 reach. Reach a little bit more. Sip in a little more air. And let it go. Release the arms. Maybe they come into a cactus shape. My shoulders and chest are not that open, so it's taking a little bit of extra relaxation to bring the forearms to the ground. We're going to bend the knees left and right so they drop outward. The soles of the feet come together and the knees rest downward as we start to open up the hips, inner hips. And you can bring a hand to the belly and a hand to the heart. Supta Baddha Konasana. And as you become aware of the breath here, maybe you send that breath right into the hip creases and the inner thighs. Maybe even using some words in your head to encourage those areas to relax. Check in with the jaw, the eye sockets, the cheekbones, the forehead. You might even play around a little bit with the shoulder blades. See if they can come flatter or closer to the ground. I had a yoga instructor very early in my practice, in the years of my practice, who said her twin boys always asked her to make Supta Baddha Konasana, which she did for their birthday one day. I don't know what she put in it, but they thought it was a hoot. So here we are in supine bound angle pose. letting the breath carry the softening. Breathe in full belly breath. Feel the hand rise that's on the belly. As you exhale, the belly softens and the hand falls downward a little bit. The innards of the body, if you will, feeling a little closer together. We'll take that again, belly breath. And slowly release. You're welcome to sigh the breath out the mouth, nice and long. Tuck the chin toward the chest and let the back of the neck get long. Breathe in, belly breath. Breathe. We're going to add to that belly breath, the breath moving up into the chest, so you'll feel both hands rise. Breathe in. Belly expands 360 degrees, and then the chest rises as the lungs all the way to the tippy top, and softly release the chest and the belly and the breath. 2 more of those, belly to chest, chest to belly. Back so the ribs expand, or the ribs on the back, and contract. And once again. Big, huge breath in through the nose. Open your mouth, release it. Switch the position of your hands. Take another huge breath in, cleansing breath, really big, full breath in. Let it go out the mouth. And one last time for the beginning of our practice. So return to a natural breath and place your hands wherever it feels okay for you. Maybe there's something a little bit more comfortable here. Could be by your sides. Could be on your knees. Consider all the connectivity in the body with the hip flexors. The hip flexors are on the front of the body, connecting all of the area below and above the hip bones. They affect your quads, and the power of your glutes affects your hip flexors. If your glutes are loose and not doing any work, the hip flexors will get tight. And if the glutes are super overactive, which tends not to be the case in the United States today, then the hip flexors need to stretch. They'll feel a little tight and will be overstretched. And the hamstrings are pretty complementary to the quads and the hip flexors. So when you strengthen and stretch the hamstrings, that also influences the hip flexors. And if you're like me and you sit a lot, whether that's in the car or in a chair in the office or at a computer or looking at your phone, you often find you need a little bit more hip flexor flexing, stretching to aid us. A little extra work in the glutes and the hamstrings. Bring the soles of the feet to the mat, the knees point toward the sky, and create some space between your feet. Grab your cushion or your pillow and place it underneath your low back. So just sort of at the top of the bum and the bottom of the back. Find a place that's pretty comfortable and settle in there. Just finding a little tilt of the hips. Taking a little bit of time. My shirt's getting all caught up in it. Let's stay here for a few breaths. Bringing to mind an intention for this practice this morning. Maybe it's the reason you came to your mat. Maybe there's some aspiration you have in terms of your behavior long term or just today. Or maybe it's something like, I'd like to stay with my breath. And take the right knee, draw in toward the right armpit. You can use your hands on your kneecap or your shin, or you could always bring your hands behind your thigh. You're going to work, the left knee's going to want to drop out to the left. So go ahead and press the big toe mound of the left foot back to the earth. Use that whole left foot. We're going to really work that right thigh to see if we can squish the belly, compress the belly. If you like, you can add a little bit of a challenge here by creating a half happy baby. So the knee continues to come toward the arm. The arm comes inside the right knee, and the hand comes outside the right foot, continuing to keep the left big toe mound on the earth. You might guide your left hand up and down your left thigh and that hip flexor. If your hip flexors are feeling pretty good right now, you can always lengthen that left leg out onto the ground. Mine is not working that way right now. Grab the back of the thigh once again if you have not. And then bring your right knee, your right hand, your palm to your kneecap. Go ahead and find some hip circles or knee circles, if you will, guiding that right knee in and around, up and down, while continuing to press the big toe mound of the left foot to the earth. Drop the right foot to the earth. Wiggle around if you need to find the center of your cushion or blanket or block. By the way, you can do this on your back as well. You don't need the prop. It's just kinder to your low back. Press the big toe mound of the right foot to the earth, and then gather the left knee in toward your left armpit. Again, your hand can be on the thigh or on the shin or the kneecap. We're really working to compress the belly using the thigh. If you like here, finding a half happy baby. Is it half happy or is it a half baby that's happy? Press the big toe mound of the right foot to the earth. Mine loves to peel away. Extend that right leg if that feels okay for you, but don't worry about it if it does not. You could try it and decide, hey, not working for me right now, and that's all right. We're going to take a hold of that right kneecap with the left palm and create some circles in the air with the knee. Both directions. You're bidirectional. And then the most delicious thing is the knees will draw together toward the chest. That little lift of the hips, if you have a prop underneath you, feels so wonderful. Now you can probably really feel the thighs compressing the belly. And if you like, remain here. You might wrap your arms around your shins, or you could take legs up the wall posture, straightening the legs up toward the sky, checking out what the hamstrings feel like, and alternating between pointing the toes to the sky and reaching the heels to the sky, finding some opening in the front of the ankle. Maybe even ankle circles. Ooh, that feels good. And there's a little bit of popping of air in the joints. Wiggle your toes, open and close them, making fists with the toes. Gather the knees into the chest once more. Roll onto one side, so you're coming off your prop and releasing it, moving it away from the mat. And here you are on your side. We're going to come back to the spine, but keep the knees to whatever side they are on and find a little bit of a twist here. Spreading the arms open. The gaze moves opposite the knees. And then come all the way onto the back of the knees, hugging in toward the chest again. I'm moving my prop out of the way. Hug, hug, hug. Knee circles with both knees. You can take them in opposite directions or the same direction. 3 to 5 cycles. And then move in the opposite way. As if you're painting the sky with your kneecaps. Maybe you're making a beautiful color wash of the sky and the air above you. Now we're going to tilt the knees and drop them to the side they were not on moments ago. You might need to shift your hips a little backward toward the center of your mat. Arms spread open again. Gaze comes opposite your knees. Oh, things are starting to feel really good. Very relaxed. We're getting so many movements of the spine. The only we need to do our side stretches, and we need to do some back bending, but other than that, we're moving that spine, adding some fluid to it, lubricating it, even as we are working our hips and hip flexors. We're going to bring the spine all the way back to the earth, hug the knees in once again. We're going to work another round of twists, placing the left leg long on the ground and hugging the right knee in. If you take your left hand just onto your right shin and place your right hand palm down next to your right hip, you can then use your hands and your left foot to shift the hips a little bit to the right, just a couple of inches. We're going to go ahead and draw the right knee across the body over to the left. So you're coming onto the left hip, and you sneak those shoulder blades down toward the earth as the right palm flops up, and the gaze moves over to the right. A little bit of a deeper twist this time. Working the outer right thigh, and don't worry, we'll work that again because we're working glutes. Draw the spine fully back to the earth. Both feet on the ground, knees bent toward the sky. Lengthen the spine, straight as it would normally be, top to bottom. And we gather the left knee in toward the chest. Right leg comes long onto the mat. Right hand takes a hold of the left shin. Left hand to the mat next to your left hip. Shift your hips a little to the left. And draw the left knee across the body, coming onto your right hip for your twist. Left palm flips upward. The shoulders roll up and back. Your chin and nose and forehead all work together to turn your neck to the left. Return to your spine on the mat. Shift your hips back toward the center And then roll all the way onto your left side. Hands can be under your head, knees up by your chest. Return your awareness to your intention. And then press yourself up to a seat. From a seat, go ahead and move into child's pose. A different stretch. Still working the thighs a bit, but also working the spine and feeling the stretch all along and across the low back. Big breath in. Full breath out. Right now, opening up the triceps a bit under the arms, imagining there's this little scooping out under arms so that you're spreading the chest and the shoulders. Meanwhile, the breath moving up and down the spine like it's playing a little piano, or maybe a long piano. And that same breath spreads left to right across your low back, hip to hip. Fingers nice and wide. Forehead on something, connects with the earth or a prop. Sitting bones draw toward the heels. We're getting the most out of this stretch. And we feel the tops of the feet on the mat. Maybe you notice the texture of your mat there. Curl your toes like you're making a fist of your foot, and then release the toes and spread them wide. Come on to your fingertips so that the arms are off the mat. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, crawl the fingers all the way to the right, and maybe the hands come off the mat. We're stretching here all the way from the left hip crease to the left pinky finger. Drop your head back down. Maybe the left palm rests on the back of the right hand. Forearms can return to the earth. Big breath in. Complete breath out as you work that left sitting bone back toward the left heel. It wants to peel away. Keep guiding it down so you get length and expansiveness all along the left side of the body. Come towards center on your fingertips, head lifted. Draw your hands over to the left this time. You can stack the palm of the right hand on the back of the left. Drop your head, drop your forearms, extend and expand the right side of the body. Hands walk back towards center. Make your way to the TT, the double T tabletop. Adjusting clothing as need be. Wrists under the shoulders. Check the feet. Make sure they're as wide as your knees, but your knees are only as wide as your hips. You're not putting all of your energy into the heels of your hands, but rather a little lift of the center of the palm away from the earth so you spread that weight evenly. We're going to find some cows and cats or cats and cows. Take your time. You might add some other motion to the cat-cow shapes. If you're new to cat-cow, the cat is a breathing out and a pressing away of the earth as you round the spine and drop the head, gazing at your knees or your navel. And the cow is a dropping of the spine on the breath in, so the belly drops down, the gaze and the hips lift. Some people add a little motion, rolling motion to this left and right or up and down. And one more time. Use the belly, energy, and power. Return to a neutral spine. So neutral spine like a tabletop. So there's not an arch, there's not a roundingness, but there's a bit of flatness, as if you could place your grandma's china cups and saucers on there. We're going to go ahead and stretch the right leg off the earth behind us. Square the hips. Squeeze the glutes a lot and reach the right heel away from you. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze those glutes. Move the leg out to the right using your glutes and your belly. Doesn't have to go all the way to the right. Swing it back behind you. Draw your knee to your nose. Inhale, extend. Use the glutes, squeeze them, squeeze the hammies, bring the right leg over to the right. Sweep it right behind you again, knee to your right elbow. You're going to round the spine. Drop your head. Inhale, extend. One more time. Use the glutes in the belly, leg out to the right. This time it swings all the way over to the left so that maybe you could see it if you peek over the left shoulder. It's crossing above the left calf. It's outside your mat. And then the side of that right foot comes to the earth. The front of the right hip glides toward the left heel. So now the right foot is moving away and back, left and back. Forearms can come to the earth. We're opening up the left side of our glutes, or the left glutes as opposed to the left side. A little rounding into the spine. If your belly is just hanging out on your left calf, you might draw it in and up to lengthen your low back just a tiny bit. Extra challenge if you like. Remember in school, extra credit. You can get a little extra karma if you tuck your right toes under and float the right knee off the mat. You really don't get extra karma. But you might feel like it's a little extra credit because it opens up that left set of glutes that much more. Ooh, that feels so interesting. Maybe non-judgmental on whether it's good or bad, but more explore what it feels like. Experience it for what it is. Come back to all fours, right knee to the mat, and take a little hip sway or hip circle, feeling the tops of the feet and the outer edges of the hands connected to the earth. Neutral spine once again. This time left leg reaches off the mat behind us. Hips square up, and the only way you can do that is to activate your glutes, your hamstrings, and your belly. So you should be able to lift your right hand off the mat and maybe even work to lift your left hand off the mat. It takes a little bit extra energy. Keeping the glutes and the belly strong, reach the left leg out to the left. Swing it behind. Draw your knee to your nose. Extend. Left leg moves out to the left. Returns behind us. Knee above the left elbow. Lengthen back out. One more time, square things up. Don't forget, not bending in that right elbow. Left leg out to the left. This time we swing it and sweep it behind over to the right, above the right calf, shoelace side of the foot on the ground. And we find our extra stretch by gliding the left front of the left hip. So that place where the hip flexor is right in the middle of the hip crease. Left toes tuck under for your extra credit exercise. Left knee lifts off. That makes me think about like my reading class in second grade, where for extra credit, if you finish your reading lesson, you would read another one. Reach that left heel behind, strong across the shoulders, belly in and up slightly, noticing, experiencing, sensing, welcoming any sensations in the right glutes. Rise back to your tabletop. Hip circles, cat's cows, Moving left to right like the letter C with your spine. Return to a neutral spine, fingers wide, weight evenly distributed. Walk the hands forward just a couple of inches. Tuck your toes under, and on a long, slow, languid exhale, lift the hips up and back for downward dog. Paddling in and out. We will have another sequence for the hip flexors, but we're going to make our way momentarily to the front of the mat for a few welcomings of the sun and settings of the sun. Heels reach away from you. Power up the belly. Drop your head. Get strong across the chest. Lift the belly in. Rise to the tippy toes. Press your chest toward your thighs to start with. And then with a look past your hands, walk the feet behind the wrists for a forward fold. Check that the feet are parallel to the outer edges of your mat. Maybe you find a rag doll or a clasp of the hands behind the head in support of lengthening the spine and the neck. This has my face inside my shirt. Kind of funny. Release your bind if you have one. Guide the hands to the shins. Find a half lift Ardha Uttanasana. Stay here for 3 rounds of breath, drawing the shoulders toward the hips behind you, and the crown of the head forward. Belly draws up. Collarbones open wide. Breath out, release down. Root to rise all the way to standing. A little stop in mountain pose, hands by your sides. The arms sweep out and up toward the sky. Maybe a little bling in the fingers. Exhale, hands to your heart, Samasthiti. Hands drop by your sides. Sweep them out and up, breath in. Like a sunset, hinge at the hips, fold over your legs. Hands draw to the shins, halfway lift. Forward fold. Float to standing. This time we'll take Cactus Arms. Opening up the heart, the elbows, drawing the belly in and the tailbone a little bit forward. Close the doors, close those arms in front of you, zip them up. Elbows to fingertips, lift the elbows. Open up the arms. Close the arms. Lift the elbows around the space between the shoulders. Inhale, open up. Exhale, remain here. Inhale, arms reach to the sky. Breathe out, sunset, forward fold. Halfway lift along flat spine. Exhale, hands to the earth. Rise back to standing, arms lift high. Exhale, cactus shape arms. Breathe in. Exhale, drop the hands behind you. Elbows remain bent. You can interlace the fingers or hook them. We're working to bring the belly in, the tailbone down, and the collarbones open as the heart lifts. Lift, 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 and then, only then, do you lengthen the hands. Maybe. You don't have to. Knuckles closer to the ground. Finding a little bit of an opening. Squeeze the shoulder blades together like they're cogs that need to lock. That's the right word. We're going to find a modified chair pose. So stay in your bind. Bend your knees. Drop your sitting bones back and draw the belly in with the tailbone down. The weight shifts into the heels. Maybe you peel the toes off the mat and spread them super wide. Mine are already super wide. The width doesn't always fit on the shoe. The little toes meet the mat, and then the next toe, the next toe, the next toe. Opening up that heart, Stay with the hands bound, fold over your legs. Forward fold, bound. Waggle your head. Waggle your tail. Waggle your shoulders. Exhale, release the hands. Halfway lift. And a forward fold. Step back for high plank. You're welcome to do a full vinyasa. We're going to meet in down dog. If you'd like to do something else in between, like side planks, or play around with lifting one leg at a time, feel free. Meet in downward dog when you're ready. Pedal things out again if that feels right. And then a return on a breath into high plank. Knees drop. Tabletop. Take your left foot and place it behind your left hand. If you need to use your hands to make that happen, do it. You're going to come to your fingertips. And then double checking that the left knee is directly over the left ankle. We're going to scoot the right leg longer behind us so we're not bending right on the knee. Go ahead and walk the hands forward a few inches. Lift your belly up, open up your collarbones, and then sink a little further the hips forward. If that brings your left knee forward of your left ankle, you're going to extend your back leg again. I use my toes to do that. We're working on the right hip flexor here, and a little bit on the left hip. We're going to play things out a little bit by sneaking the right sitting bone toward the right heel and peeling the left foot off the mat. You can keep the heel there, but the rest of it lifts up. Come back to your low lunge. Left hand places on the left thigh. The right hand joins it. Hopefully you're in a fairly wide front to back Anjaneyasana shape. Pressing away from the left thigh, a tilt of the tailbone forward and down, a press of the front heel into the earth, and of the shoelace side of the back foot into the earth. We're going to play around a little bit with this. Anjaneyasana, low lunge. Maybe you'd like to drop your hands by your sides to find a little bit more of a heart opener here. Heart shines up. Hips shift forward, tailbone tucks forward. Activate your right glutes and activate your right hamstrings. If you're finding it difficult to do that, take the actions again to press the heel of the front foot to the earth and the shoelace side of the back foot to the earth. If your arms are not overhead yet, reach them out and then up. We'll take a twist with the left arm forward, the right arm behind. So that could be a little bit wobbly feeling. I mean, frankly, all of this could feel a little bit wobbly feeling for you. Inhale, arms forward, chest forward, and lock the arms back into the shoulders. Breathe in. Open up, twisting the other way. Left arm behind, right arm in front. Keeping your twist, intertwining your fingers in front of your left armpit-ish area, left side of your chest. Drop the hands to your hip to cup the hip, and then drop your chin. Shift the pelvis forward a little bit more, and make sure you're not grasping the mat with the left toes. Imagine that you're tractioning the left foot and the right leg toward one another. So you're moving the left hip back. Keep the left hand on your hip, drop your right hand to the ground, stay on your fingertips, and then deeper twist to the left. That might involve peeling open the left arm. Drop the left hand inside the left foot. If you need to shift around your back knee, feel free to do so. Move the left foot way to the left and point the toes to the left. We're going to take a little twist again over to the left. I have to lift my right knee off the mat a little bit to do that. If you'd like to add a quad stretch here, which will deepen the opening of the right hip flexor, you can bend into the right knee and reach around with the left hand. But you want to continue to send the pelvis forward and down rather than lifting it away from the earth. So if the body is not allowing that, don't bother. I'm pressing with the heel of my hand the left knee out while working to keep the sole of the foot to the earth. Left hand comes to the earth. We return to our tabletop. Shift around if need be. Maybe you find a blanket to place under your knees if that feels better with all that. There's like a lot. There's not like a lot. There is a lot that we're doing on a single knee. Neutral spine. Right foot steps behind the right hand. Hand can help you. You might creep that foot forward a little bit now that you know what's coming. You want the right knee above the right ankle. Curl your back toes under. Extend the left leg behind you a bit more so you're above the kneecap. And then untuck your toes. We're on the fingertips. We're reaching the pelvis forward while we're working to sort of traction a little bit the right foot and the left leg toward one another. Extend that right leg, shifting the left hip, toward the left heel. Keep the right heel on the mat and float the ball of the foot off. Return to your low lunge. Maybe shifting again a little bit, that back knee away from the front of the mat. Right hand on your right thigh. Press your torso away from the thigh as the left hand meets the right. Big toe onto that right foot presses to the earth, and you're using the heel of the front foot and the shoelace side of the back foot to help out. Pelvis shifts forward. Heart shines up. Maybe the hands drop by your sides to do that. Right foot tractioning toward the back of the mat, and the left leg tractioning toward the front of the mat. Arms sweep overhead. Sink deeper into your front hip crease. Twist right arm forward, left arm behind, a nice open twist. Use that front foot and the back foot to help you gain the balance that you need. Fingers wide, belly in and up. Arms come forward, heart comes forward. Lock the arms back into the shoulders. Open up on a breath out with the right hand behind, left hand in front. You might notice a big difference this side versus the other. I sure do. My right shoulder is not as open as my left. Interlace the hands in front of the right side of your chest. Drop the hands to the right hip so they cup the hip and drop your chin. Right hand stays on your hip, left hand drops to the earth. Deepen your twist here. Maybe the right arm floats upward. Long spine breath in, twisty, twisty spine breath out. Right hand inside your right foot, heel toe that foot out to the right, keeping it parallel to the outer edge of the mat to start, and then point the right toes to the right. You might again lengthen your stance front to back if that's helpful. And right hand inside that right knee to twist over to the right. Quad stretch if you took it on the other side, remembering the tip and trick, most important, is the hips are moving forward and down, not away from the mat. Right hand comes inside the right foot. We return to tabletop for a brief cat and cow shape. And we're going to cross the ankles, roll over them to come to a seat, and return all the way back to the mat on our backs. You can keep your knees bent toward the sky. And if you like, you can take a bridge, standard bridge, Pilates style bridge, which is a little bit longer of a bridge, or like I'm about to do, a restorative bridge, finding your cushion, your pillow, your block, your blanket, just like we did at the beginning of practice. We're going to place it just at the top of the bottom where it meets the back. If you'd like something deeper, you can choose a longer edge of the block to get a deeper back bend. But rather than just hanging out on your prop with your palms facing up and your knees bent toward the sky, you're going to take a little bit of an active motion of tilting the tailbone toward the sky. Squeeze your glutes, squeeze your hamstrings, even if you're in a regular yogic bridge or a Pilates style bridge. And then see if you can sneak your shoulder blades toward each other underneath you. So you're lifting the heart, shining it toward the sky, lifting a little bit the pelvis toward the sky, activating the glutes and the hamstrings. Press the big toe mounds to the earth. And breathe for 3, 2, and 1. You can move your feet closer to your bottom. Lift the pelvis toward the sky to remove your prop. Return the feet to the earth and then cross the right ankle above the left knee for a supine figure 4. If you prefer to take pigeon, feel free to come face down. Swap out that side for the opposite. 6 breaths here. Both feet back to the earth. Spread the feet as wide as your mat. Drop your knees to touch one another. Loosen the arms out to your sides and take a little windshield viper motion left and right. And if it feels good, you can pause with your knees all the way to one side. Find a couple of breaths in that twist. And shift them to the opposite side for a couple of breaths in that twist. Now, if you have a bolster, as you draw your knees toward the sky, you might place a bolster underneath your knees. You might find a happy baby, or legs up the wall, or a hug in of the knees to the chest, or you might go right into your Shavasana shape. You could choose Supta Baddha Konasana for that, like we did at the beginning, if that feels good. Wherever you go, breathe in to relax the front of the hips, the hip flexors, the inner hips, inner thighs, and the belly. Let the shoulders soften up and back, as if the shoulder blades are kissing the earth, encouraging the spring to spring forth. Big, huge breath in, and a full, complete breath out. Shavasana. Gently return your awareness to the body on the mat, and especially to the experiences, the sensations you felt throughout this practice, especially in two specials in your hip flexors. That breath deepens. Maybe you return to a full body pencil stretch. Ooh, feels so good on the breath in. We stretch. On the breath out, we release like we're reawakening to this day. Knees bend to allow you to roll onto one side. Bring back to mind your intention, your motivation. And use your top hand to press yourself back to a seat. Our only seat in this practice today. Hands to your heart. We'll close practice with a sound of Om. Breathe in fully. Knuckles connect right at the center of the forehead. We honor one another. We honor all beings. We honor the practice and the power of compassion. Namaste. Thank you for your beautiful YouTube energy. I hope that you found that practice valuable. And I look forward to practicing with you again. If you have opportunity to donate, you can go at saltandsandstudios.com. And if you're ever in Vermont, we would love to have you here in studio for Saturday practice, or Tuesday night, Friday night, or Sunday morning. My name is Karen, coming to you from Vermont, Salt and Sand Studios. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.